Before Nike, there were Adidas and Puma, built by two German brothers who hated each other. But this isn't their story. This is about a 24-year-old kid from Oregon, broke, living with his parents. No job, no plan, just a crazy idea. He wasn't an athlete. He wasn't a businessman. He was just looking for something more, something fun, meaningful, different. And somehow, that idea became Nike, a brand now worth over $190 billion. This is the story of how he did it. Phil Knight didn't set out to start a sneaker empire. He was chasing something else. Not money, not fame. Purpose. He said, "Life is short. I don't want a job. I want to play." And the idea that would change his life? It started as a Stanford MBA paper. It pitched that Japanese running shoes, like Japanese cameras, could undercut expensive European brands in the US. At the time, it felt crazy, but the more he thought about it, the more it made sense. And one day, on a run, legs pumping, heart racing, it hit him. Let everyone else call your idea crazy. Just keep going. Phil sold everything he had, borrowed $1,000 from his dad, and left on a round-the-world trip. In Japan, he managed to land a meeting with a shoe company, Onitsuka Tiger. "Which company are you with?" they asked him. He panicked. Then, he remembered the blue ribbons from his high school track race medals hanging on his bedroom wall, and blurted out, "Blue Ribbon Sports." It wasn't real, but the pitch worked. They agreed to send samples. And just like that, Nike's original story began, with a fake company name and a shot in the dark. Back in Oregon, Phil waited. For months, no shoes. He worked as an accountant by day, dreaming about his crazy idea at night. When the shoes finally arrived, he mailed 2 pairs to his old track coach, Bill Bowerman. Bowerman not only liked them, he wanted in. Together, they placed a $1,000 order for shoes that were $3.33 each. Phil didn't have the money. His dad called it jackassing around, but his mom, she pulled $11 from her purse, and Phil's dad caved. That $1,000 started it all. Phil sold shoes out of the trunk of his Plymouth Valiant. He faced rejection after rejection. Sporting goods stores laughed at him, so he went straight to the track meets, talked to athletes, showed them what he believed in. Because Phil didn't see himself as a salesman, he saw himself as a runner. And belief, he realized, is irresistible. The shoes sold, then sold again, then sold out. Blue Ribbon doubled sales every year. But Phil's banker hated it. "You're growing too fast," he warned. "You need more equity." Phil didn't care. He believed life is growth. Business is growth. You grow or you die. He reinvested every cent into his business. No savings, no cushion, just momentum. Then, betrayal. Onitsuka, the very company that gave Phil his start, began secretly lining up new distributors in the US. So Phil flew back to Japan. He kept calm, showed his numbers, and fought for a new contract. Somehow, he got it, a 3-year exclusive deal. But he knew it wouldn't last, so he built a backup, starting with a loophole. The contract only banned him from selling track shoes. So, Phil began designing football shoes instead. That way, he could launch his own brand without violating the agreement. Now, he just needed a name. It came to his first employee, Jeff Johnson, in a dream. Nike, the Greek goddess of victory. And the logo? Phil wanted something that captured emotion, so he hired a student designer to sketch the ideas. She came back with a fluid checkmark, the swoosh. It cost $35. Phil didn't even like it at first, but it was theirs, and no one could ever take it away. Onizuka found out. They cut the cord, terminated the contract, and sued Phil for breach. But Phil didn't flinch. He sued them back. At an emergency team meeting, he stood before his small, exhausted crew and said, "This isn't a crisis. This is our Independence Day. No more borrowed brands. No more waiting on late shipments and broken promises. If they were going to fail or win, they'd do it with their own name, their own logo, their own shoes." The very first Nikes? Disasters, crooked swooshes, cheap leather, quality issues everywhere. And they were debuting at the biggest sporting goods show in the US. Buyers walked by, picked them up, and laughed. "What the hell is a Nike? It's the Greek goddess of victory," Phil said. "And this logo, that's the swoosh, the sound of someone going past you." They smirked, but then they bought. Because even if the shoes weren't perfect, buyers trusted Blue Ribbon. They were a company that always showed up, always told the truth, always played the long game. The legal war with Onizuka escalated. Phil was underfunded, overstretched, but relentless. In court, Onizuka's top executive, Kitami, pretended he didn't speak English, then accidentally corrected his own translator in perfect English. Even Mr. Onizuka himself claimed he had no idea what his employee had been doing behind Phil's back. But the judge saw through the lies. And in the end, Nike won. Because they had something the other side didn't. Integrity. The kid, with no job, no money, and a crazy idea, had outlasted a global giant. Nike wasn't just surviving anymore. It was ready to take over the world. Phil Knight didn't build Nike with a master plan. He built it by chasing a feeling, a belief that work could be play, that selling shoes could change lives, that a crazy idea, if pushed with enough conviction, could become a $190 billion empire. So, if you're building something and you don't know where it's going yet, just keep running. Don't stop. And if you want support along the way, join our online builders community. Find the link in the video's description. We help each other stay consistent, build online income, and reach that first $1,000. Because, as Phil Knight says, the coward never started, and the weak died along the way. That leaves us.